So welcome to Let's Rock.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Nice to speak with you again.
And a lot's happened since the last time we spoke. Give us an update on what's been going on with you.
Oh, gosh. Well, the last time we spoke was a few years ago, so it's been a little bit since then. I think, let's see, I'll just go with this year. How about that? I'm just kind of currently juggling 3 gigs. Most people probably listening know that I've been with Whitesnake for a while, for a little over 4 years now. So we just did a summer run with Foreigner. Doing the amphitheater, so that's what's happening there, and the new album comes out in early next year, and I think a pretty heavy touring year to follow. We'll see. I don't know that for sure, but I would imagine David, with the album coming out, and he, from any indications he's given, is planning on doing quite a bit of support for it. So that's always exciting. And during the year when I'm not with Whitesnake, I've been doing gigs with Cher, oddly enough, which is out of left field and never would have seen it coming. But I'm having a good time, having a great time working with the musicians on that, all great musicians. And it's fun playing all the different styles of music that are in her set. And she's been doing a lot of residencies in Vegas, essentially, or the Washington, D.C. area up until now. But I'm right about to leave for Australia to do a 5-week arena tour with her. And then next year, she's doing a North American arena tour. So that's cool. Getting to be able to play arenas in any setting is always a lot of fun for me. And like I said, all the musicians are great and great people, so I'm having a good time with them. And then, of course, last but certainly not least is Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And I'm right about to leave for I think it's my 9th winter tour with them this year, something like that. Maybe it's my 8th or 9th, something like that. But always exciting, banging out a lot of arena shows in a very short amount of time.
No kidding.
But that was a blast. I love those guys in the band, and awesome production to be a part of. So there you go, man. That's the obvious stuff. Lots and lots of live gigs.
So let's talk about this this Cher thing. How do you go about getting a gig with Cher?
When I found out that Whitesnake wasn't going to be touring in 2017, I just reached out to lots of friends and colleagues in the business via text or email and just said, hey, keep me in mind. I'm going to have to kind of build a year next year. And so my friend Justin D'Erico, who plays with Pink and also is the guitar player on The Voice, recommended me to the other guitar player in The Voice, Dave Barry, who was Cher's longtime guitar player. He needed a sub. And so Justin recommended me. So that worked out brilliantly. And as it turned out, Justin got more busy with Pink than he thought, and Dave became more busy with The Voice than he thought he was going to be, and I just ended up getting more and more gigs with it, and just kind of slowly but surely became something that I was doing on a regular basis.
This is, I don't know if this is a new thing or not, but a lot of guys I've spoken with are doing this pop star thing. Nuno's doing a gig with Rihanna, and I talked to Greg Howe, and he's doing stuff, or he did stuff with Justin Timberlake. What's the deal with all that?
I can't speak to others, but my thought process is always, I want to get paid to practice, basically.
Huh.
So I'd rather be getting paid to play my guitar and paid to improve than just kind of sitting in my place noodling. For me, that comes first. Like, getting the work is first. The style thing kind of comes secondary for me. There's a lot of people where it's the other way around. Well, they'll only play a certain style of music. But for me, what happened is the 90s hit, basically. I was a guy who grew up on 80s rock, and the 90s came around, and I had to find a way to make myself a good musician without playing guitar solos. So I ended up taking all kinds of gigs in the 90s to make a living. So this is old hat for me, doing all this kind of different stuff to make a living. It's just happening on a higher level these days for me in terms of profile. So I enjoy it, and I certainly have no problem with it. It's for me, it doesn't say anything more than I want to be a good musician and get paid to play.
But you also, I've seen some clips of you with Cher. I mean, live, she's so much more aggressive than she would be on her albums. The sound is just so much heavier with you guys like you playing. Is that something she wants live?
You've probably watched the clips of the rock bass. It's stylistically, it's all over the map. I mean, there's disco stuff in her set. There's that kind of 60s folky stuff that she did on the Sonny and Cher show. And there's just straight up kind of dance, house sounding stuff. And it's all over the place, honestly. She's one of those pop stars that they've recreated a million times. And for me, that makes for a fun set of music to play. I kind of dig that because I grew up learning a lot of different styles, and certainly my favorite is still playing rock or hard rock. It's not like all things are totally even, but I do enjoy playing other styles. I really do.
That's very cool, and I think that's important for every musician.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too.
So yeah, let's talk about the Whitesnake album.
What's happening with it?
What's happening with it, and the recording process and the writing process and all that fun stuff that we all like to know about.
As I've said in a bunch of interviews, there's too many songs. We recorded a lot of songs. So it depends on the ones that David picks out. I was a part of writing the riffs or the chord progressions for 9 of the songs, I think, something like that. And about the same with Reb, Beach, and then some of the stuff was all 3 of us. David writes all the melodies, lyrics, the hooks and everything. So it's a blessing to be a part of any of the writing with that. David's great to work with in the studio, and we're looking forward to getting the album out into the world.
And how was the tour with Foreigner and Bonham?
That was great. I filled in for Mick Jones back in 2011, so the Foreigner guys and I have a special bond from that time period because that was an extremely stressful time. I did that on 24 hours notice, learned their set, and filled in for Mick, and simultaneously kind of playing with Night Ranger because Night Ranger, that bill was Night Ranger, Foreigner, Journey. So anyway, I have a great bond with the Foreigner guys. They're good friends and great, obviously a fantastic sounding band. And then the Bonham guys were new to me, but I really like those guys a lot. So it was just like a lot of really cool people and a summer of really great music, hearing basically the Zeppelin tunes and then hearing the Whitesnake catalog and the Foreigner catalog. So it was kind of a night where literally people knew every single song they heard.
Yeah, I actually saw Foreigner in Ottawa, I guess in March or May or something like that. They were fantastic. I couldn't believe how good they were.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal band.
Absolutely. Now, is there a difference for you in preparation when you're doing something like Whitesnake or Cher? You know, getting ready for a gig, do you approach them both the same?
It's the same in that I just work as hard as I can stand to work on it before we play it. I like to prepare. Whitesnake obviously requires a lot more chops. So I definitely spend a lot more time working on all the leads and things like that leading into a show. Lead playing. The Cher thing is just kind of running the songs over and over.
Right. And how long did you have to prepare for that one? Was it just an overnight or two?
The first time I did it, no, I had a lot of time. So I ran it every night for a few weeks, sometimes multiple amounts of time. And my MO when I sub for somebody is to sound exactly like them. So I wasn't really going in with the attitude of wait till I show them what I can do. My attitude was keep everybody as comfortable as possible, make them feel like Dave Barry is there. And so I learned everything he did, what direction he slid into notes, exactly how he played it, what pickup position he was in on what guitar. Just made everything sound identical to him. That's always the way I start when I'm subbing for somebody. And then if you get the gig more often, then maybe you can loosen it up a little bit and kind of make it your own a bit. But essentially, I just imitated Dave Barry.
So I imagine there's not much room for improvisation or anything in the Cher set.
It's not really that kind of gig. None of the three that we're talking about are really big on that. I can improv a bit in the Whitesnake, the solo sections, but you're not going to change the song structure and break into a jam suddenly as a band. It's just not going to happen. You play the songs on. So, none of these are necessarily like that, but I love to improvise, and plenty of music it calls for that, and plenty of gigs call for that. It just is the three that we're talking about aren't necessarily that.
Right. So you're doing the, from what I read, you're doing the Eastern swing of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Correct.
And then you're doing the North American Cher tour.
After Tiesto.
Right. Right.
I'm going to do that as far as I can until Whitesnake starts, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which I don't really know when Whitesnake is going to start, so I can't really give everybody that info and say I'm doing it until this date. But my plan is to hopefully that I can do the entire thing. I don't know.
Well, that'd be awesome, because Cher is coming to Ottawa, I noticed, which is pretty cool. It's amazing how iconic this woman is. I mean, everybody at work is talking about going to this show, after all these years, and it's just amazing what she's done.
Yeah, I think that she had a number one hit in 5 different decades, if I recall correctly, from when they gave her the Icon Award at the Billboard Awards that I played with her.
Right.
So that's pretty amazing. She's great to work for. She's very, very low key. She's not high strung about it all. She's been great.
That's fantastic. All right, I'm going to ask you, this is kind of a weird thing I've been doing recently. I get my daughter to write some questions. She doesn't really know anything about this kind of music. She just has some fun questions to ask. So I'm going to fire a few at you. Here we go.
Okay.
We'll start off easy. How many guitars do you have, and why do you need so many?
I don't know the exact count. It's in the high 30s. I would say 37 or 38, something like that. It depends if you count things like my steel guitar or my banjo. I guess those would be the only two. And then there's some toy guitars in the high, things like that. It depends if you count those. In terms of why I need them, I don't really need them, but they're fun to have. And a lot of times when you're recording, there are certain things that I own that I'll only use once a year or something. Like I have a sitar-style electric guitar, and I only use it here or there. But when I have it, it's fantastic to say I have it. Or a 12-string electric or a 12-string acoustic, and those are things that don't get used all the time. But you're really glad you have them when you do use them.
And which one would you save if you had only one to save?
My 57 reissue gold top Les Paul. That's my favorite.
Okay. That's not a bad one. How do you recover on stage when you make a mistake?
You just keep playing and hope you don't make another one. I don't know. It happens. I mean, everybody makes a mistake here or there. You play a wrong chord or something, and hey, you just shrug it off and keep going. Because I've played with really, really fantastic musicians, and everybody I've played with, I've heard make a mistake.
Right. So just keep going, pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any songs that you play in? Let's go to Whitesnake here. Are there any songs in the Whitesnake set where you get really nervous about a solo that's coming up?
No.
No, that was easy. Okay. Nothing that really, really. I played in a little cover band, and there were a couple of songs that, when they started, I was just dreading the solo that I had to play. So nothing like that.
Not really. Yeah, I started playing the solo for "Don't Tell Me You Love Me" in Night Ranger, because that opening picking pattern of that is just unbelievably fast that Jeff Watson put together. So that would be, if I had to name a solo that I used to always was just tortured me for 7 years while I was in Night Ranger, that would be the one.
That is a beautiful line. Beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
Awesome pattern. And Jeff does that by picking up on the downbeat. So he kind of uses economy picking starting with an upstroke, which is just, if you've spent your whole life picking down on the downbeat of 1. It's extremely hard to do that and get that down. So my approach was always, I can get it with just straight alternate picking, but it was really hard to get that up to speed, especially when you'd have to do like radio appearances and play it on acoustic. It was always a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine, for sure. Kind of a really strange question next. Who's your favorite Disney princess?
I don't really know any of them, to be honest. I guess, is Cinderella a princess? I guess
she is, yeah.
Yeah, let's go with Cinderella, because that's a band. How about that?
Hey, there you go. Hey, I was talking to Doug Aldrich a couple weeks ago. They were in town with the Dead Daisies, and your name came up a couple times. This is not a question for my daughter. This one's for me, but how tight is this rock and roll community? It seems everybody knows everybody and plays with everybody.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty small scene, the hard rock scene in particular. So yeah, we're all tight, and I don't really have any enemies in it. All the guys like that people would think there's some kind of rivalry there. Doug's a buddy of mine. We get along great. So
like taking over from somebody in a band is not. There's no hard feelings or anything like that.
Not under the circumstances. I mean, Doug left Whitesnake under his own accord, and him and I have always texted about our families and things like that and been friendly. So that continues on. I never really saw any reason to have anything there in terms of now suddenly that guy's supposed to be an enemy or anything like that. Just no. He's a nice guy.
Awesome. Okay, and one more question for you, and then I'm going to let you go. I loved your solo album, your last solo album. Any chance of another one anytime in the near future?
Yeah, it's taken a while to work out a deal, and I think at this point I may just go ahead and start working on one, and then see if I can work out a deal after. It's kind of my latest and greatest mindset with it all. So the answer is yes. I hope to do another one, but you never know.
So you've got some ideas cooking?
Yeah, I mean, the holdup with that is always just having a singer that I really, really want and have it be top notch on it. I could make an album with me singing, but it would be limited and not. It wouldn't be a 10. I want to make another album with Russell Allen, and obviously Jeff Scott Soto helped me out on the last one as well. So it would be great to do the same thing again, and that's what I'll probably go for. I love those guys as singers, and we were able to do one support gig on the Monsters of Rock cruise for it, which was awesome. So I'm going to just kind of look at it as that, and that album was great fun to make, and I hope to do it again with like my favorite people. I don't want to make an album just to make an album, and honestly, people say, oh, you do that for the payday, but the paydays are so minimal with recording now because the label isn't making enough money and the artist isn't making enough money, so you almost kind of make an album to break even these days.
Right.
It's like asking somebody to do a really hard job for a few months and not get paid.
Right, yeah. It's a lot of work for no reward.
It really is at the end of the day. So when people say, oh, it's a grab for the cash, it's like, dude, you don't know. Absolutely not. I make all my money playing live pretty much. So everything off of that last solo album more or less was spent on the album just to get it out.
Right. I guess that's the way with most bands now. It's just make your money on tour.
Exactly.
Well, if you do one, get Jeff Scott Soto again. I just saw him recently with Sons of Apollo. He is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd love to do another one with those same guys. It's just a matter of I need to respect their schedules and their interests too, because obviously Sons of Apollo is doing great. Very happy for Jeff, so he might not be interested. I don't know. I'll have to see.
Whatever happens, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, at some point, Whitesnake gets up to Canada and does some shows around here. Yeah, just keep rocking. I hope you can remember all these tunes every time you go out on a different tour.
Thanks so much, man. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge here coming up because right after I get done with Cher in Australia, I go to Trans-Siberian Orchestra rehearsals, so I'm going to have all that under my fingers. And then there's one day off in rehearsals where I'm going to fly to Mexico, and Whitesnake is opening for Guns N' Roses. So I'm going to play the Whitesnake set kind of upon landing. So I'll have played all 3 sets of music within about a week.
Oh, come on. How do you remember it all?
Challenge.
How is that possible to remember everything in 3 different bands?
Well, you just keep reviewing all the time.
Man, oh man,
every night of the year I've ran a set of music. That's every night for me is like get the headphones on and run somebody's set, or pretty close to every night. Sometimes it's chops or something like that, but for the most part I'm running songs all the time.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, good luck, and I hope you don't break into I Got You Babe in a Whitesnake show or something.
Well, the funny part is the Cher tour is called Here We Go Again.
Oh, my God.
Which I thought was amazing, because I guess that it's related to the Mamma Mia appearance in the movie, that she's in the new Mamma Mia 2, I guess it's called.
Right.
I'm not informed on it at all, but apparently that title has to do with the movie. So I thought, wait, what? So I've got Here I Go Again and Here We Go Again.
Oh, man.
Getting a little crazy.
Best of luck with it all. Looking forward to you coming up here at some point and checking you out. I've never seen you live, so let's get on that. Get a show up in Ottawa.
Dude, awesome. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, and you take care of yourself and be safe and travel well and play well. Thanks so much for this.
You too, man. Thank you so much.